Hey, welcome to another episode of Legion Elite Motorsports. I'm your host, Isaiah, and I hope you guys enjoyed the new intro. Gonna do more of those in the future. But in today's episode, we've acquired a new crank standard size for the Eclipse GSX build. So we're gonna get the block prepared, send it off to the machine shop, and then after, we'll go ahead and start the assembly process. So let's see what's all involved and let's get to it. Okay, so the crank is pulled from the spare engine. And now we need to get the other block prepared to go to the machine shop and finish it up. So let's get to it. Okay, so we got a package in. This is from Kigley Racing and everything. Bearings, ARP main studs. So this block is going out to get a line bore hone. But in order to put these bad boys in, there's some modifications you have to do to the block. Nothing major. But basically, these nuggets right here and right here have to be shaved down. So you don't get any shrapnel in there. You cover it on up. And then you cut, and then you cut, and then we'll be good. So yeah, we're gonna get to that. Okay, as per the instructions, these two areas is where you have to shave it down, which is the rear of the block. And as you can see, it's shaved down there, shaved down there. This was actually done with the angle grinder. And cleanup is very minimal when you use a towel. So now we can start assembling the main girdles and off to get a line bore hone. Okay, so we have the ARP studs with the ARP lube at the bottom. And we're gonna put the Kigley on here for the first time. There we go. Okay, that is the wrong way. Let's flip this. There we go, that's correct. Okay, that is incorrect. Flip this. There we go. So, basically, got the short side here, make sure it clears, not touching anything. And we are ready for ARP lube and the bolts and washers. So let's put that in and take it from there. Okay, ready to torque it down. Also, you're supposed to have the studs up. I believe it's 11 millimeters. And these are just a little loose, so it looks like it's at the top, but it's actually not. So yeah, we're good to go. Let me torque these down and see what we got. Okay, they are 100% torqued down, 3 steps all the way to 60 foot-pounds. And we're looking good. We are ready to line bore hone and get this engine on point. All right, the block is back. Line bore hone is completely done. That is very important. If you don't want to destroy a crank, make sure it's the proper size. Granted, everything is standard, but over time, these engines are 30 plus years old now, this iron moves. So with that being said, you want to straighten that on up. This is something I'd probably do, depending on how hard this engine's life was, every 15 years or better. But yeah, so that's done. I went ahead and honed the cylinders myself, which is pretty simple. You get one of these. One of these here. And you go to town up in here, and you get these wonderful results. Some fresh cross hatching, polishing the cylinders. You're getting it looking right, ready to seal those piston rings properly without it being polished smooth. So that comes out perfect just like that. And yeah, so any slight imperfections gets cleared up with the honing process. And when you're doing it, you want to make sure that you have it on low speed on the drill, so nice and slow, and you want to go in and out for about 30 seconds at a time and check your hatch pattern, make sure it looks proper, until you end up with it looking like this. So yeah, the surface is straight. I already checked it with a straight edge, you know, little cleanup here. I got some new dowel pins coming in for these two here, so waiting on that. Okay, we got a standard crank right here. And also, the rotating assembly has been 100% balanced, okay? Usually, correct me if I'm wrong, down in the comments, when you go higher RPM, your decimal point place changes. So instead of it being 1.00, it'll be 0.1. So that way you get a finer balance so you can hit higher RPMs without less distortion, which would basically destroy the crank, sadly. So this one's been balanced, and you could see the fresh holes here. No balancer shafts, those have been deleted. So, yep, they go at the crank. See the new holes. They drilled into it to balance it. And then I had that done all the way to the flywheel and pressure plate. So, now that that stuff is done, we can assemble. This should be a quiet, smooth, and reliable engine. This is a standard crank, no cut. And yep, it's ready to run. Another thing, when you get your pressure plate back, they mark it with an X. Depending, they might put a 0X or whatever. So when you put it together, it will be balanced. There's an X on the flywheel there, and an X there on the pressure plate. I went with a cheap pressure plate to lower the push on the crank. That's one of the things that I was worried about. You can see they're drilled here, there, and let's see, probably a couple other places, but it is 100% balanced. So we are good to use that. Also, we got some ARP flywheel bolts coming in, waiting for that. And for the pistons, they are numbered, so 4, so on and so forth. And these are also balanced. They took these completely apart, weighed the pistons by themselves, took the lowest number, and then you take each corresponding piston down to that weight. Same deal with the connecting rods. So that's all done. We got our bearings over here. Never mind that. So we got our bearings here. We got the rod bearings, and we got the main bearings. And here we are. We got the package from STM Tune. The spacer when you're not using the balancer shaft. Flywheel bolts, shims, brand new transmission bolts, all needed. Okay, so the wider shims go here, And then the narrower shims go here. But we're gonna get to that a little bit later. Now, in order to install these properly, you're gonna get a piece of wood and a hammer and bam it on there until it doesn't go no more. That's a safe way of doing it without damaging anything. You just use a piece of wood, then hammer, done. So we're gonna pop those in real quick and we'll be good to go. And just like that, they are installed. No damage, nice and clean, good to go. Next thing on the list is we gotta clean out these galleys to make sure we get all of this out. This casting, this heavy casting, you gotta get all of that out because that's gonna sit and grab oil and that is not needed. Okay, there we are with the carbide bit. Using this one with the air attachment. Clean that up pretty good. See that there. And then next we have to go at this with the sandpaper bit, and this should be done. Sorry about that. Kind of got a little ahead of myself, but the bearing clearances through the machine shop, we actually selected a number and that number came out perfect. The clearances is in the middle of the spec, which is happy for a little bit of performance, and that's 20 thou to 25 thou. So right in the middle there, dead smack. I put assembly loop, so that's in there for the main bearings, and as you can see, it's been super easy. There we go. Be careful not to pinch your fingers in here. But yep, that's perfect. And then pertaining to the thrust in and out, there is next to none. I mean, it has a little something. Best thing to do is to get a feeler gauge on here and then measure that into spec. I actually don't have one, but I know this one is within spec. According to the machine shop, he had the tool and he tested everything out and it came out perfect. Sent me a video of it, but after that, I torqued these down to 60 foot-pounds in 3 steps, 20, 40, 60, and don't forget to put your piston squirters on there on each hole. If you're running them, I heard some people delete it for performance reasons, but this one's going to be a daily driven motor that just so happens to have a little bit of backbone in it. So yep, as you can see, it's been super easy. That's what you want. Make sure you have good clearance for the oil. And yeah, we're good to go. So the bottom is done. And then I'm gonna put in the pistons right now. So we're gonna start from 4 and work our way forward until that part is done. And then we'll do the oiling system next after that. Excuse the noise in the background, but yep, we're on to installing the pistons. And one thing to notate, when you're installing them, you want to make sure you gap your rings. That's very important. When you get them out of the box brand new, they are not gapped at all. So you don't have catastrophic failure. Gap your rings. All right, so with that being said, we are ready to put these guys in the cylinders because they are already pre-gapped. And I'm going to use this fancy tool. This bore of this engine is factory. Just polished and cleaned up. You don't have to use one of these. You can use the old squeeze kind, but this just makes it so much easier. So let's get to installing them. We're going to start with number 4 and then work our way up to number 1. Now, these bags are labeled. This is 3. This is 2. That's 4. This is 1. So let's just get this in order. All right, so 4. Swap these. All right, good. Now, next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that these pistons are facing the right direction when you install them. Now, you can look here and be like, oh, it goes this way, maybe this way. Well, these have an arrow on it. Makes it simple. So, you want to make sure with that arrow faces towards the front of the engine, And then you want to make sure your lock pins are all in the same spot. So if I don't know if you could see it, but the lockers are on the back. So facing towards the front of the engine, lockers in the back. So this is the front of the engine, and then the locker is going to be towards the exhaust side, going in that way. Now, in order to put these in, of course, you want to debag it. You want to get your bearings in here. And also, you want to make sure you got your torque specs for your main bolt, or excuse me, your rod bolts. And you want to lubricate this guy so the piston slides in and slides out. Usually you can use engine oil. Some assembly lubes are acceptable. They're just a little too thick, but it'll burn off regardless, so it'll be fine. So we're going to use a little bit of assembly lube in here. Get that lubed up just a little bit, not a lot. And then we're going to put this guy in. And for the rod bearings, we're using King's bearings. Alrighty. Got the coating and all of that good stuff, and we are ready to lock and load. These bearings, you could put in either or. There's no specific order. As long as it's the right size, you are good to go. So yep, we're gonna load this sucker up with some bearings. We're gonna lube it up and install. Okay, and just like that, we got the rods and pistons in there. Let's take it to the bottom. Okay, so we got the piston coolers in there, all 4 of them. As you can see, each piston is numbered 1 through 4. They've all been balanced accordingly, and the engine turns like butter. So that's perfect right there. We got everything torqued down. These main studs are put at 60. The rod bolts are put at 36. And yep, we're looking good to go, good to go. ARP lube on everything. And yeah, now we're ready to move towards the front of the engine and get the oil pump on there. But first, before we do, we're gonna have to change the front main seal on that. So let's see how that goes. Excuse the wind sound. It's like 100 degrees here in Florida. But, so basically what we got here is the oil pump housing. This has been cleaned out with a combination of brake cleaner, engine assembly lube, and PB blaster. Get that all up in there, clean it out, or you can turn it around, take it apart, and clean it piece by piece. But this one was running perfect, no issues, no hang-ups, so we're gonna have this one go for round 2. I took a drill and circulated the fluids through here to come out through here. So everything came out perfectly. And then now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna change this front main seal. I zip tied all of the bolts exactly the way they came out, so there'll be no question of how it goes in. Here's the front main seal. And we're gonna pop out the old one and put in the new one. When you put in the new one, you wanna put some sort of lubrication on here so it doesn't tear. I usually use PB Blaster or something of the same equivalent, something a little light, not too heavy. You can even use lithium grease, which works pretty good. So yep, we're gonna take our flathead, pop this guy out, push the new guy in, and boom, we'll be good to go. Okay, so we got the old seal out. You probably can't see it, but they abuse these things getting them in, and they're not gonna do their job properly if they're beat up. So, best to swap these out and put them in easy. Little bit of PB Blaster on there. Just wipe it on the outside, and then push it in smooth, and boom, you're good to go. It's gonna do its job, lubricate the inside ring. Yep, and it presses in nice and easy. Good to go. Okay, so there are a lot of gaskets for the oil pump. This one here is paper. And the thing about paper is when it sucks up oil, it starts to slowly but surely leak it. So this one, no go. Now this one, on the other hand, it has like a plasticky kind of a feel. Kind of like, it's smooth. And this one, I'm sure, is made out of paper also, but it's an oil resistant type of paper. So this one actually works better. So we're gonna pop this bad boy on and we'll be good to go. Now, if you're using the paper one like this, I highly suggest to coat this with silicone, which then you might have some clearance discrepancies, but yeah, I would definitely coat this. I wouldn't even use this, but yeah, try not to use this one, use that one, or the blue one. There's a blue one actually. So yeah, so we're gonna pop this on and should be good to go. Okay, you lay it on the dowels there, and she's good to go. Okay, so, yep, so this and this, so this goes on first here, right? Then this goes on in front of that, right? It has a keyway to make sure you don't do it wrong. So, I mean, granted, I know I have this in here, got to take it out to put that in, but instead of doing it this way, I'm going to get rid of this guy and use this guy. So, this will go on to replace that, so it's less stuff in the way of that. So, let's pop this in. Okay, we got it out of the bag, and it doesn't matter which way you put it on, you're good to go. So, this slides on like so, and then you put this guy, keyway, shows you which way it goes. All right, put that guy like so. Then you put the last one just like that. Then you tighten this bolt onto there and you're good to go. So, yep, that's with the pulley eliminator. And with that being said, we're gonna call it an episode right there for now. There's a couple of parts we gotta order, and we definitely ran out of time. But hopefully this was helpful in some way, shape, or form. And with that being said, remember guys, knowledge is power, and I will see you next time.